we're here today with some of the strongest brothers in the world.
World's strongest natural brothers.
You recently squatted, around 1,030 or something like that in competition?
Yeah, 1,036 in March.
And bench press?
600.
A deadlift?
903 in competition.
So squat was 400 kilograms, which is 881 pounds. I remember the first time you did it.
Pablo's rate of progression has actually been a little better than mine.
People work their entire lives and never reach these numbers, by the way. Have you guys been strong, like, since you were, like, little kids?
It starts off in our earlier days when we had to carry an ungodly amount of horse manure out of the stalls. A lot of people think I'm a fake natty. Then I can see why.
We primarily stay away from fast food. If we eat a lot of something, it would be meat.
What do you guys weigh?
We'll just round it. So we'll say 400.
How do you guys know what the best weight for you would be?
If your shower just starts to shrink.
And you guys use like a RPE in your training?
RPE is how it looks. Reps in reserve is how it feels. And then QOR is like what it looks like on video.
You mentioned that your program over the years has not really changed that much.
It's a very old saying, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. People get lost in the sauce and they're just like, oh, I need to train 6 days a week. I need to squat 3 times a week. I need to do this. I need to do that. Start off slow. You don't want to get so specific so fast, whereas like you maximize like your newbie gains like that. You want to gradually take your gains as you go.
All right, we're here today with some of the strongest brothers in the world. And I think maybe powerlifting wise, we could just flat out say strongest brothers in the world.
Pretty sure about that. Yeah.
We could definitely say the world's strongest natural brothers.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about the natty title. You got to throw that in there.
It's important, man.
But it's very controversial. I mean, you guys are throwing around some big time weights, right?
If the internet was true, I'd be lying to everybody's faces right now. But I'm not.
Does that bother you at all? Like the constant questioning of, both of you guys?
It doesn't bother me until people start bringing my faith into it. And they're like, wow, like another Christian man lying. And I'm like, bruh, like, slow down. My faith has nothing to do with that. Like, it's two different things. Like, that's like when people cross that line, that's when it gets a little personal. But for the most part, man, like I'm pretty much used to it. At first, it was a little unnerving, but it's just like when you're in the spotlight, when you're constantly just trying to push the limitation of what you can do, what the human body can do, it's just a part of the game, man. So it's like whether people think so or not, or if they're willing to listen or at least have a conversation with me, then I'm not going to give them any mind. But I mean, I've had some conversations with people where I'll tell them my background, just part of the process that I have to partake in with like WADA and stuff, and like pretty much being like under observation at all times. So it's like either Sherlock Holmes can't figure it out, or you know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things where I think it stems down from it's natural to like have a hard time comprehending what you don't understand. So
yeah. What did you think when you were younger? You guys are young as it is, but when you're even younger, you both have been lifting for a little while, and you see somebody squat 800 pounds, 900 pounds, you automatically assume that they were on stuff, or like when you saw bodybuilding and stuff, or did you just not know anything about any of that?
Yeah, we didn't know anything about it, man. Like, I think the first time I ever heard anything about steroids, I think it was like on the Greg Doucette video, and he was like talking about like the dangers and the consequences and stuff like that.
You have a Coach Greg voice?
Try harder than last time.
It's not bad. That was good. I saw him right there.
Yeah, no, he's definitely knows what he's doing, man. That dude's a whiz when it comes to just growing his channel. Actually, me and Pablo were like, that was one of the first channels we were like catching on before he like blew up.
How old were you guys at that time? Because this is pretty interesting. You're 24.
25.
You're 25 and you're
23.
23. So how old were you guys when you like started seeing Coach Greg's stuff? Because
COVID?
That's all you, bro. Because Pablo is the guy who introduced me to like all these YouTube people on social media.
I would watch a lot of YouTube. I would say I think I was 19, bro. And I think you were already a good chunk of time in powerlifting already. I want to say 2020, late 2020, early 2021 that we started watching him. Because I would watch a lot of Russ, a lot of like old time powerlifting motivation videos on YouTube. So I would see Mark there. And yeah, he didn't really watch YouTube. You just kind of did your thing.
You guys train with Russ sometimes, right? Russ Swole?
Yeah, man. I think we're at the point now where we can definitely say we're more on the friend side. I think we were just like acquaintances because we were teammates. We have the same coach, but every time we run into him, man, like it's a really fulfilling conversation. Like we're always talking about things outside of the gym, personal matters and stuff like that. So it's like it's been pretty cool, man. Just getting to become friends with someone who kind of got you into the thing that you're in right now. So it's been something like that, and it's been a blessing.
So let's just talk some numbers here. You recently squatted, what, around 1,030 or something like that in competition?
Yeah, 1,036 in March.
And then bench press?
600.
Damn. And then a deadlift?
903 in competition. These are not gym numbers. We don't glorify gym numbers around here.
I was about to do that, bro.
Why'd you look at me eye when he said that? You like looking at his soul.
I was reading his mind.
All my best numbers are in the gym.
Yeah, the big
bro.
brother's a coach, right? You're coaching him?
I was just I was taking all the good thoughts from his head so I could say it first.
This guy.
And what do you got over there?
So right now, I'm gonna say gym PRs, bro. I haven't been in a competition in a while. So squat was 400 kilograms, which is 881 pounds. For you guys that don't know conversion from kilos to pounds, and that's such a huge milestone for me because I remember the first time you did it, and I think I wasn't even near 700 or 600. So like the comparison of just like watching it first and then doing it made me appreciate it even more. You know what I mean? And I was like, I actually did this. Like I did what I saw you do, and I'm like, this is cool.
Pablo's rate of progression has actually been a little better than mine because I have several years of lifting more than him. And when you look at it like big picture and you step back, like he's actually got to 400 kilos like years before I did because I've been consistently lifting since I was 12 years old. So 13 now when I turned 25. Whereas like on the other side, like Pablo he really wasn't in the weight room. He was playing basketball. He was just a better athlete than I. His I guess it'd be like horizontal mobility was pretty like just amazing for somebody his size and of his stature. So that's where Pablo was at, where like me, man, I kind of enjoyed just lifting a little bit more. Like in my mind, when I was playing football, like I was like, oh no, I want to go play for the NFL. So I was doing everything I could to be the best football player I could be. So if my coach was telling me like, hey man, like do this workout, bear crawls, whatever, like that's exactly what I was doing. So I was just and I think that's just like the biggest difference in like the gap that we have. I know like we're 18 months apart, but really like I've been lifting a lot. I've been in the gym a lot more than Pablo has. So to see him like hit 400 kilos, it was one of like it's probably like, for me, I get more excited watching Pablo hit a PR than I am for myself. I remember like the first time Pablo hit 804 in a meet. I went completely ape shit, man. I literally
R.I.P. to the chair.
What happened to the chair?
I went full monkey mode, man. And I grabbed the thing nearest to me, and it was a foldable chair. And I just remember like slamming it so hard in the ground that it just flattened. Like I didn't even know a chair could do that, but
Dude, it ricocheted off the ground, bro. You slammed it so hard it bounced back.
Yeah, my girlfriend had to pull me outside of the gym, and she was like, you almost just hurt somebody. I need you to tone it down a little bit. So it's like, that's probably like my favorite part. And I know for a lot of brothers, it might be unusual or common, depending on what side you stand on this, but I want Pablo to surpass me, man. Like if Pablo could be the guy to beat me and retire me, man, I'd be overjoyed. I'd start my cut right there and then, and that'd be Pablo's time to do what he does.
And you got a 500-pound bench. And then what's the deadlift?
The most I've pulled off the ground was 350 kilograms, so 771 pounds. But recently I've been like not in an upward trend, due to body composition. So now we're in a diet. We're taking things more serious. Because obviously, when you don't hit a wall, you think you invincible. Like you could do whatever you want. And so now that's not the case.
Can
now
you explain that a little bit? Like, because as you get bigger, some of the lifts get easier and some of the lifts get harder, right?
100%. And I think the deadlifts for super heavyweight is the one that starts to be taken back. And I was telling, I forgot what I was telling, but I was saying like that the more you have to be attentive with your diet, and it's not just I could eat whatever I want as a super. You know, it's not just the smaller weight classes that care about their eating habits. It's you got to be everything as a super. You know, Jesus had to do it as well, and it's like I have to take notes and I have to do my time. You know, if I want to pass that 800 threshold, it's got to happen. So.
And it's because like it's hard to get down to the bar sometimes, right?
Yeah, man. It's
so as you get bigger and your hands get thicker and stuff too.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up, Mark, because what a lot of people don't realize is like the thicker your hand is, the more flesh you have for the bar to have any sort of give. Yeah. And when you're pulling the weight that we are, the minute you get the bar off the ground, man, like you have so many, like you got gravity working against you. You have your own leverages working against you. So it's very easy for like deadlifts and specifically to just kind of start going awry because like if anything throws you off, man, like now you're like, it's just very uncomfortable. And like my burning bush was, so I pulled 400 kilos when I was 22 in 2021, Pops, 2020.
2021, December of 2020.
People work their entire lives and never reach these numbers, by the way.
But then I gained 30 pounds of unhealthy weight, and the leverage changed completely. Like kicked my deadlift in the nuts, man. Like I went from pulling 400 to having to settle for like 340. I lost over 100 pounds of my deadlift because I wasn't monitoring my weight gain. So that was like a slap in the face. And then that's when I started taking my eating habits a little bit more serious. Walking, getting my steps and stuff like that. Working my grip has really been a big one.
Anything in particular for grip?
Yeah, man. These.
Just some little grippers, huh?
Yeah, these go such a long way. When you can do like 3 sets of 25 or more with like 150 or more, like your grip is pretty solid. But I actually want to train to close the, what is it, the 5 pops?
No, it's the 3 is 300, right?
What's the 350?
I think it's 3.5.
This is 250 pounds right here.
And then do you also maybe just work, like when you're doing your deadlifts and training, do you also just work on maybe holding them a little longer and stuff like that?
Damn,
Yes.
dude.
He's
Do that shit easily. He's just like,
he broke it.
Jesus. Wait, Mark, what was your question again?
I was just messing around. Where does this strength come from you guys? Like, you know, like one of the coolest things about watching like a superhero movie is like in the beginning when the guy kind of figures out that he has a superpower. I think Superman, like, you know, he had a run in with like a fireplace or something, and he was like kind of shocked that he, you know, didn't get any burn from it and stuff like that, or picking up a car or whatever it is. You guys, like, have you guys been strong like since you were like little kids?
I think it starts off in our earlier days when we had to carry an ungodly amount of horse manure out of the stalls.
It could be, bro.
It starts back in our wee farm days when you gotta sumo pull 6 feet weeds out of the ground.
How old were you guys when you first started this? Like,
Young, man.
yeah.
I mean, that's just a lifestyle, man. So, so we're first generation Mexican Americans, and so like a bunch of our culture and traditions, you know, are like pretty close to the origin. So like my dad, I mean, like besides like some of his habits and stuff and just the way he was, you know, he was a very hardworking man, and that's something that, despite like his choices and how he behaved towards us, is something that I think he instilled in my older siblings, and then as a result, they instilled in us. So that's just, I mean, I think for some people they might call it child labor, but I mean, like, we're just helping out our family, man.
Yeah.
It's just, it was an everyday occurrence over the summers. So we really didn't really think much about it. And like honestly, like I personally don't think there's anything wrong with it, especially like if you're doing it safe. You know, there's nothing wrong with asking your son or younger brother to help you out with some manual labor. But I mean, like that's just how we grew up, man. We grew up stacking hay bales, freaking 80-pound corn sacks.
But even then, like, we didn't know what strength was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what something is unless you've seen it or seen someone else do it or you do it yourself. So I wouldn't be this strong if it wasn't, like, if you didn't do powerlifting, bro, I probably wouldn't be doing it either. I would never do 800 or all these numbers. So it's like, you know, domino effect, bro.
Hey, bro.
Thank you, man.
But I don't know. That's such a deep question, man, because when you ask me where our power comes from, like, I don't really think of a specific event or time frame where it just became apparent to myself that I was like gifted naturally with like this physical strength. Because I personally believe that what set me apart from a vast majority of individuals is just like, it's my noggin. You know, the way that I perceive things, the way that I process information, and just my personal beliefs, man. And I don't know, man, I've always just had like this innate sense of direction. I've always felt like I was just a leaf in the wind, and the wind just blew and I would just go wherever the wind took me. And I'm a firm believer that like I'm not gonna lie, man, like a lot of people think I'm a fake natty. And then I can see why. But I have my moments where like I'm literally sitting in a chair and I'm like, God, like what did I do to deserve these abilities? Like, what is your grandmaster plan in giving me the opportunities and the circumstances and like environment to grow to this position and be the man that I am today? So it's like, I don't know, man. I think if I had to attribute my anything and everything, man, it would just have to be to God, man. Like, it's just one of those things where it's inexplicable. Like, why couldn't it have been somebody else who had the same potential that I have? So it's like, it's really, sometimes I feel like I have imposter syndrome because I know people who would give more to be where I am, but unfortunately they're not. Unfortunately, I'm here. So it's like, I just got to take it day by day, man, and just give glory to God for everything that we do, how we do it, and why we're doing it. So I feel like that's our source of power right there.
Yeah, it sounds like you've been doing it for a long time, and that's obviously a huge part of it. So I think sometimes people want to make a huge deal about genetics, and obviously genetics are part of it. You know, your height, your ability to put on size. But you mentioning like your brain, like that's what you're training when you're powerlifting. I mean, you're training the central nervous system, and the more that you believe that you can pick up those weights, and the more that you dispel any disbelief that you can't lift 1,100 pounds in a deadlift or something like that, the more likely it is to happen. And you see the best people in powerlifting, they're not only strong, but a lot of times they're explosive as well. Mm-hmm. And that explosiveness comes from, you know, the training of the central nervous system. And you mentioned playing other sports and stuff like that.
Yeah, man.
Playing football, you got to be explosive getting off the line, and you got to be explosive you know, when you're pushing into somebody else, and you got to be aggressive. And so those are things that sounds like you've had for a long time. And you even mentioned when you were in high school that you weighed like 250 and had striations like in your chest. Yeah. Like that's way ahead of schedule. You know, most of the time, you know, if somebody was to get to that level, it would take them, you know, until their mid 30s or something. Yeah,
man. I think my best broad jump. So in college, I was like 315 when I was throwing shot and disc. And I think I jumped like 3-point-something meters. It was like 10 feet, a little over 10 feet when I was 315. And I know that's like something that like a bunch of linemen, and like when they're in the draft, like 10 feet's like a really, really good mark.
Yeah. Yo, I'm curious about this with both of y'all because you mentioned paying attention to social media stuff, right? And one thing that I think we've noticed is that since Instagram and young lifters have been able to see people just like move ridiculous weight, you see these youngins like 17 and you guys just pulling 700, 800 off the ground, right? You were talking a little bit about that in the gym. Do you guys think when you were younger, did seeing that did that just make it like more possible, or was it just your experience in the gym? Like you guys started moving weight and you're like, this is not that difficult.
It's the latter, brother. So I remember when I was deciding what federation to compete in, the very first one that I looked at was US. I was going to go USPA, man, because I think the drug tested record was like 715, and I had just pulled 675. So in my head, I was like, oh man, I could do that if I train for it.
How old were you at the time too?
You were 19, I think.
No. This was when we came back from working in the oil field. Or before. It was before the summer, so it was like in the spring. So I was 20.
Okay.
I think I was like 20. So I had pulled 675. I think I was like 300 at the time. And I was just like, I don't know, man. Because like when it comes to social media, I think we compare ourselves more now than we did back then. Because back then, I wasn't really involved in social media as much as I am now. I honestly wouldn't even have a social media presence if it wasn't for Pablo. Pablo's the one who taught me like the importance of like growing that stuff. So for me, instead of like looking at somebody else's videos, I was really just looking up the record boards. Like that was the very first thing I looked at. I didn't really care what anybody else was doing. I only cared about who the guy holding the record was doing. So that's pretty much how we got into it, man. It was just like, for me, it was just, okay, like I can do 500 for 10. Then I should be able to do 6. And then that's kind of how my progression went, man. I just started getting stronger. I've never really been scared to like push that limit, just see how strong I can get. And I like to, whenever I first started, man, when I was younger, that's when I watched a little bit. I still watch anime, but I watched a lot more back then when I was single and I had more free time.
Hope you selling you One Piece though.
But it's like what I take away from stuff like that, man, is the methodology and the philosophy of like these characters. Like there's something inspirational, even if it's fiction, but there's something inspirational of watching like the main character give it 110% on like the last stand, man. And it's like I can take that and I can like just try to replicate that sense of awe in my heart and try to achieve it. So it's like, or like another good one, it's like Demon Slayer. I remember whenever I first started working with Joey in 2019, I started watching Demon Slayer, and one of the things they talk about is breathing styles. So I would go to the gym, and before a set, I would just close my eyes and just start breathing and visualize like the oxygen like going from like the top of my head through my fingertips to my toes, and I would just like, it almost became like a pre-lift ritual where I just make sure I'm like oxygenated, like my breathing is controlled, and I'm just like ready to go. And I mean, like people will call you a bot or they may call you whatever they want for stuff like that. But I mean, everybody has like their own little different thing that helps them get their mind ready. Yeah. And that just happens to be one of mine and my brother's, like that's just something we can relate to and get hyped and just get ready for it. But
did y'all see that new Baki, by the way?
Bro,
I'm trying to watch it.
I'm glad
I need someone's Netflix password.
I'm glad you brought this up because before I started working with Joey, man, Baki helped shape my lifting philosophy because these guys, first of all, the manga is way better.
Yeah.
Because it goes into their training arcs and it goes into like their thoughts when they're like,
pull up some Baki characters, please, so people understand what we're talking about here.
Better give me a little demon back, baby.
Don't take your shirt off.
So, I have screenshots from some of the panels where Yujiro talks about like being selfish, how he chased absolute power over anything, and like how he did everything he possibly could to achieve it. But it wasn't just the stuff he was doing that was tangible. It was also his belief that he was the strongest that helped fuel it. And it's like, obviously, like powerlifting's we're not fighting each other, but it's like when you see like these characters with these amazing physiques. Like they're going all out. They're constantly trying to get better.
Jesus. Well, literally
Pickle.
over here. He's on the show. But whoa.
Yeah.
Nah, man. Like this manga helped shape my philosophy when it came to pursuing strength.
That's sick, dude.
Yeah, man. Like a good one is like when Biscuit was fighting that one prisoner. I don't know if you've seen the manga.
Chet.
He has a bandana, right?
Yeah. It was Che Guevara's.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So he's like, he's telling him like, I actually have to control my muscles because if I let them free, it's gonna kill everybody.
Type in Biscuit Oliva,
bruh.
please.
That's what I'm telling you, man. It's like that's what I think sets me apart. It's like I feel like I'm just able to grasp these like fictional philosophies and like just translate them to real life.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We've talked about this guy on the podcast before, or this character.
Yeah, he's based off a real bodybuilder.
Yeah, he's Serge. He's based off of Serge Olivier.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's really dope that you mentioned that, though, because like these philosophies, they're not fake. There's a reason why people can relate to this type of shit because, you know, it makes you want to push yourself. And then you ended up becoming the world's strongest.
This is
kind of funny.
You know, there's people that, you know, study like philosophy and stuff like that. There's people that recommend stuff like this to identify with a cartoon character or a superhero of some fashion that you can rely on to either calm yourself down or to push yourself forward. So makes sense to me.
This might be a little embarrassing, but I remember when I was a wee child, I would go to I would be using the restroom, but like I would just start daydreaming. So I would like be in the toilet longer than I needed to be. But in my mind, all I would do was just like think of ways where I could learn how to be a real life DBZ character. I'd be 5 years old, just thinking to myself like, okay, like Goku talks about ki control and stuff like this. So I would just be like trying to learn how to fly and stuff like that. And I would do it wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like I've always managed to keep that sense of my imagination alive, even now into adulthood. And I mean, hate it or love it, man. It's played a big role into developing who I am now as a competitor.
The Zenkai boost is real.
It really is. It's like your muscles fixing themselves.
Yeah.
It's passion, bro. You need the passion if you want to achieve something great. Not many can, you know, understand or fathom the capacity of what you're trying to achieve. Mm-hmm. You really got to love it. You got to.
You guys are mentioning some stuff with diet. Like what, I know that you get to eat in abundance because you're in a super heavyweight class, but you also got to watch it a little bit here and there so you don't, I don't know, get too unhealthy because sometimes our food can mess with our sleep. And it can even negatively impact our recovery if you start to get too big and you start to get too like unfit.
I would say we primarily stay away from fast food. If we eat a lot of something, it would be meat, chicken or red meat or steak or ground beef with some rice, fruit or veggies, and eggs. That's it. If we were like, okay, we need to eat a good amount of food, I like to do like rice, eggs, meat, all in one bowl.
You guys did a poke bowl for lunch today.
Yeah.
I offered like In-N-Out and stuff, and you guys went. You took the high road.
For any of you ladies who like big men, my brother is single, and this man is a menace. He is a menace with a skillet.
I do know how to cook, but
this
besides
man,
the point.
And he squats over 800 pounds.
Anyways, besides the point, for a while, man, I was like, oh, we can eat whatever. And it just shows that you need to have what is it? Like, not resilience, but like you have to keep back or withhold from, right? From indulging and stuff like that. Especially if you want to get to a high level, you need to be able to control things like that.
What do you guys weigh?
We'll just round it. So we'll say
410.
400.
All right, 400 pounds.
Yeah.
What
Total combined weight of 800 pounds up here? All right.
Let me ask you guys this, because like it's got to get pretty. First off, you guys can gain size super easily, so that's one thing, right? But how do you guys know what the best weight for you would be? Because you're in territory that not many lifters have been to. So a lot of guys are probably just like the bigger the better. But as you mentioned, too much weight can draw back. So how do you figure out where your best body composition is?
How our deadlifts are feeling.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's always like the biggest indicator of like, okay, like I need to take it, tone it down a notch.
Bend down to go pick up the bar and it feels like your head's going to blow off your shoulders. You're a little too heavy.
Or like,
You know this.
Yeah, another feeling, yeah.
or if you're starting to feel a little, if your shower just starts to shrink.
Yeah.
Like, man, I need a bigger shower.
Yeah. But I mean, like, it's crazy, man, because when we were a lot smaller, like when we first started, I remember like I wasn't able to eat a whole pizza by myself until I was like 20, 21, I think. But that would be like our pre-deadlift meal, man. Like, because we were working at Lowe's, we were in the lumber and cement section. And I think I would get off at 2, Paulo would get off at 4 or something like that. And we would literally get Little Caesars and just eat a pizza. Yeah. But that's because like we grew up like watching like strongmen for motivation. So it's like their nutrition is a lot different than what it would be for like a natural powerlifter.
Yep.
Because it's like, honestly, I think I tracked my calories for a little bit. Like I really, at most, if I indulge, I may be like at 6,000 calories on a large day. But really, like when I'm maintaining, it's like 4,500 to 5,000. Yeah. Where it's like you see other men at 400 pounds and they're like, oh yeah, man, 10K a day. But we actually received intel from a verified source that that's all bull crap and it's just for YouTube.
I can believe that.
Dude, that's a lot of food, bro.
10K?
That's a lot
That's
of
a lot.
food.
Every day.
Because 6K is a lot. So add another 4, it's like,
But you'd have to get up at 3 a.m. and start eating.
no thanks, bro.
Yeah.
That's
I like
that.
to sleep.
Pat Project family, we love beef on this podcast. We talk about it a lot. All right. We love our meat. But sometimes eating the same meat all the time can get a little bit boring. That's why we partner with Good Life Proteins, which also has certified Piedmontese on their website. But sometimes you might just want to eat some chicken or fish or duck. Duck. Who eats duck? But you can eat duck. That's why if you go to goodlifeproteins.com, you can select their Build-A-Box options and input all the proteins you want. Then you'll select subscribe and save to save money on all of your meat. If you enter code PowerProject at checkout, you can save up to 25% on your subscription. That means you're going to be saving 25% on all of that different meat that's going to be heading to your door. Once again, head to goodlifeproteins.com. You can enter code PowerProject and save up to 25%. Links are in the description box below, as well as the podcast show notes.
How is your sleep? Is your sleep compromised? Because sometimes when you get real big, it gets to be difficult.
I mean, I feel like for myself, I think my sleep is pretty consistent. I mean, like my girlfriend will tell me like when I snore and stuff like that, but I don't really like sleep uninterrupted. Like I mean, I think pretty much everybody in my family has sleep apnea, but I don't really feel like it's being inhibited, you know? I feel like my sleep quality is pretty solid. I get my 8 hours in, man. Like I don't really have a hard time moving around or nothing. Like when I get my steps in, my back doesn't really get tight. It's really more so my legs, especially like after a heavy workout. So it's like, and I feel like that's another thing, man. It's like from what I hear from other guys who are my size that are untested, like it's like they're going past what their body is like supposed to be at. Like, dude, you're not supposed to be 400. You're genetically made to be like maybe 300 tops, maybe 250. But because of your life habits, like now your body is put at risk. And it's like, I never want to be in that position where I'm compromising my livelihood, my, what's the word? It's,
Longevity?
life quality, you know? Like right now, it's like, my life quality is pretty great, man. Like I'm in a good spot right now. Well, we are trying to cut down a little bit, but that's not really so much for performance. But well, for Pablo it is, but for myself, it's like
I mean, it's both, bro. It's both.
Well, I was gonna say like I want to look good at Sheffield next year.
Me too, bro. Even if I'm just spectating, I'm trying to look good watching, bro.
How do you guys feel? How are the elbows, knees, backs?
I mean,
Feel pretty
you can
good.
go first, Pope.
Personally, I wouldn't know how they would feel like to somebody else, if that makes sense. Like at my weight, I feel okay. Like I don't have like, oh my back.
Yeah, you might feel the same no matter what.
Yeah,
If you're 400 pounds.
So it's like for me, I feel pretty good. I still only thing is the what I was telling you earlier, but like the hip mobility, that's like the one thing you need to be attentive with if you're gonna be up like a bigger size. Don't be slacking off. If anything, it's like you're required to be more active, more of this, more of that. Because if you just let loose, you can't move, you can't do anything.
You've had a rapid climb. He was saying you went right to 881 pretty quickly. How have you been able to keep the knees intact and like lower back? I mean, something you guys are doing is obviously working.
Yeah. Actually,
elbows,
that's a
like
good
that.
question because Pablo's had to deal with chronic knee pain like since he was a little kid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
playing
like
basketball and stuff too.
Yeah, man.
I had we went to get X-rays or MRIs. Pretty sure it's X-ray, right? MRIs like deep tissue type stuff.
yeah, X-rays your bone.
Yeah, so we got X-rays on my knees and right here, like on my, I don't know what it's called, but there was I think so. Yeah, I have patella tendonitis, but there was like a gap on my knee, and they were saying that was like for growth.
Oscar Slaughter.
Yeah, I think so. And they were telling me that if it keeps hurting or if it closes, I'm good, but if it keeps hurting, I would need surgery. So I've always had knee tendonitis, and it wasn't until I saw Knees Over Toes that I would start to do his exercises, implementing them, because for a long time I would squat with knee pain, with tendonitis, and it was
Which
the
hurts
worst.
like crazy. People think, oh, tendonitis, you just work right through it. It's like that. It you can work through it, but man, it hurts. It feels like your knee's gonna tear.
Yes, and like it gets so swollen you can't even bend it, and it was very bad. So I would be at work and I'd just be doing this. I could do, if I was hurting, I'd be doing this right now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I pay my what is it? My
Respect,
respects. Yeah, to those exercises, and it helps, man. If you actually care about your health and look into it, like it will work out.
Yeah.
How long did it actually take for you to like notice a difference? Was it pretty immediate? Was it a few months? I know it was a while ago, but
Dude, I would say like doing it every day consistently, like at least 5 to 10 times a day. 2 months, maybe a month or
Quick,
2
yeah.
months,
And you guys use like a RPE in your training.
Yeah.
And Joey, I forget his last name, even though I know
Joey
him.
Frizio.
Yeah. And you guys use like a RPE in training. Can you explain, like, it's a rate of perceived exertion, right?
Yeah.
And then can you explain like what you're doing with that and
Yeah,
why you
man.
think it might
So,
work?
the reason why like we're such big advocates for RPE is because when utilized properly, it allows for an audible on the day. And this audible is pretty much like either you're feeling super great or you're feeling super trashy. And like for most of the time, like on the ladder, if you're feeling bad, man, like just imagine like you feel like absolute dog crap. You know for a fact you're not going to hit the 93.5% you have for the day.
yeah,
But you still have to load it, knowing damn well it's going to be 50-50 or at worst case scenario, like you're going to like just don't do it. So
I don't
it's
think
like
people understand the anxiety. Like, there's
Yeah,
a lot of anxiety when you see those numbers like that. You're like, oh my God, last week was hard, and this week's gonna be 10 times harder. And then you get to the gym and you feel like crap.
yeah, man. So it's like when you're utilizing RPE, now that number doesn't become a set number. It's fluid. You can fluctuate between whatever you think would be appropriate. But I do see a lot of people take advantage of it, and they'll upscale and they'll be like, oh no, man, that's an 8. I'm like, dude, you're capping. That's a 10, bro. You did not have 2 more reps. Yeah, man. So it's like that's pretty much the system that we use, man. Like that's the system that you could say like I grew up learning for powerlifting. But at the same time, like as I learned more and became more educated, I also started incorporating IRR and QOR. So IRR is reps in reserve, and then QOR is quality of rep. So when you can like utilize these 3 systems in conjunction, then it's like this is like the most objective I think you can be with training, because RPE is how it looks, right? It's how it's perceived. Reps in reserve is how it feels. It's how many reps you feel you have left. And then QOR is like what it looks like on video. So it's like, how well did you perform the task at hand? Like, what was the quality on your technique? Like, did you have any technique breakdown, or were you able to like keep it intact and like execute at a QOR of 10 or 9 plus, right? Because like how we were talking about, it's like when you can have a quality of rep at 10, it's perfect. Then you really only have like 2 reps in reserve. The RPE might look like a 6. So it's like that was my way of forcing progress. Was I would tell myself I need to move this weight at that RPE. And I just think like I was so explosive while combining like the aspect of like always working on my technique. I just think I was able to like pretty much have like pretty solid QOR, and I was able to kind of force it. Now I'm not going to recommend that to just anybody. I have had this conversation with some of my athletes who I think could benefit from that change in mentality. But I mean, like now as I've gotten older and just, I don't really try to push my body as much every single week. Sometimes I'll pull back hard, man. Like I think there's been times where I'll just call it at 700. Pablo will be like, dude, if you feel like crap, let's just do back downs. We'll do 4 reds. And like that was one of our more interesting conversations with one of our friends, like Michael Davis. When he first moved to Texas, we would start our first set of deadlifts with 4 reds. It was like 485. And he'd be like, dude, like what the hell are you guys doing? Like you guys both pull over 700. Like why are y'all doing rep work with 4 reds? And we'll be like, hey, bro, until you know, you don't know.
Well, with conventional, it's more taxing than sumo. So it's like you have less energy reserve for however long you do your set for.
Yeah.
So it's like we can start lighter and then progressively work up each set. And then we have like a base, like, all right, we'll call it here for that RPE.
You also get into the grind of like doing this week in and week out. And who knows if it's the last deadlift session or the last bench session or, normally Rick Husey, who was the coach for Big Iron Gym in years and years ago, and it was comparable to West Side Barbell. But one of the things he was mentioning was if you get a PR, if you get a like nice PR, 20 pounds or something like that, comes out of kind of seems like almost nowhere. He's like, be careful in the next couple days and weeks because there might be PRs waiting for you on a deadlift or squat as well. Maybe you got your PR on the bench, but he urged people not to take them. He was like, you need to be careful because now you're in new territory. And so I agree. I think that, a lot of what you guys do, you said you've been with your coach for 4 years. And the only time in the 4-year span, he's only recommended you go to an RPE of 8 just a couple of times. That's pretty amazing. I think that's really important for people to understand and to hear. And you can look at that 8 as like 80, 85%, maybe 90%, something like that, if you want to go percentage wise. But I think it's so hard to, you get caught up in the numbers. You get so excited and you want to do more and do more and do more. But if you're progressively, even if you are making some improvements and you are lifting a little bit more weight, you need to be really cautious with how those reps look.
Yeah.
Because you don't want like dirty, disgusting reps.
You don't want to be known as that guy.
Yeah, and being inputted into your body. They're bad inputs. They're not good inputs. So taking 485 and doing it perfectly is really clean and good inputs for your body.
Yeah. And you also have to think about it like over a span of a workout. Like you're saving yourself for the next session too. So
is there an aspect of you that was kind of surprised when starting to work with your coach that you didn't need to lift as heavy all the time to get stronger? Because I feel like some people expect and they feel like I got to be pushing 90% weekly.
I don't know, man, because I always felt like when I very first started with Joey and I didn't know jack squat about like as much as I know like RPE, I didn't know anything about RPE.
Yeah.
I would literally just go 10 pounds heavier every week because it's like I can remember like 650 feeling heavy. I remember like the first time I did 750 felt heavy, but it would move well. So it's like I would just go 10 because my body wasn't used to it, even though I'm pretty confident I was able to. Like I feel like when I first started, if I was like ego lifting, I'm pretty sure I could have done 804 in my first competition. Like I just felt like I had the strength for it.
Yeah.
But I didn't have like the mental maturity to like, I didn't know how to walk it out, how it would feel. I didn't know the expectation of what was going to be set before me. So instead of like just ego lifting, I took it like 10 pounds at a time, just small increments until I started feeling like, okay, like I think I can do that. Let's do 10 pounds. But I don't know, man. What was your question again?
Just like the fact that you didn't have to lift super heavy. But along with that, you guys were talking in the gym and you mentioned that your program over the years has not really changed that much.
It's been the exact same.
Exact same. Some people, when they see that from a coach, they're like, you're not doing your job. Like, well, what's going on here? So I guess maybe Joey's record with people, but like what gives you that confidence, like that you don't need to change? Because lifters always feel like they need to change to a new program.
It's a very old saying, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
There we go.
So it's like, and it's like me and Joey have these conversations. We have conversations like, hey man, like, should we add another squat day? Should we do this? Should we do that? But it's like, we've had so much success over the 4 years that it's like, I don't think we're at that point yet where we need to add like a little bit more squat, maybe somewhere throughout the week, or a third bench day, because it's like so many people. And I think the people who have popularized this are like the popular 83, 90 kilo guys where it's like they're training 6 times a week. We can use Russell, for example. Like Russell trains 6 days a week, I think. His frequency is significantly higher than mine is, right? And he's only been training in the gym I think we're both at the point where it's like we can say like our bodies are like adequately like used to that workload, volume, right? Yeah. We training relatively similar time frames. But people get so lost in the sauce of trying to look like Russ, trying to be at the top, trying to lift the numbers that he does, that they think I need to do exactly what he does. And more times than not, people forget the context because it's so easy to judge a book by its cover. You're like, oh man, like I want to buy this book, but then you open it and you're like, I don't want no part of this.
You open up that Russ Foe book, you're in a lot of trouble. You're like, man, I got to work out this hard every day.
Yeah, man, but it's like Russ has been training for a long time.
He's a football player before all that too.
Yeah, man. Like
he's got great conditioning and stuff too. I'm sure if he wanted to convert back over to a different sport, he would be able to do that as well.
I don't know if you guys saw it, but he posted on his story where he was working ladder drill.
I saw that.
And his footwork was still pretty damn good. And I'm like, you son of a gun. Like, I don't think people understand, like, for his footwork to still look like that, despite him, like, not doing it serious, like him just messing around, like, that's just God-given talent. You can't just walk in unless you're like have that level of coordination already. But anyways, so people get lost in the sauce and they're just like, oh, I need to train 6 days a week. I need to squat 3 times a week. I need to do this. I need to do that. But it's like, start off slow. You don't want to get so specific so fast, whereas like you maximize like your newbie gains like that. You want to gradually take your gains as you go. And plus like you, and then another thing is it's like injury prevention, man. Like not everyone can handle that much frequency. And like, I think it became really popular where it's like, you see a bunch of lifters get hurt trying to do somebody else's program when they don't even have like the pedigree or background. And it's like, no, man, like slow it down, take it day by day, take it lift by lift. And then like, if you find out over time that you can handle it, then okay, like let's slowly ramp it up. But it's like people just get so enamored and they want like that shine, like that. But it's like, nah, dude, like it takes years and years and years and countless hours to be where like I am or Pablo is or Russell is.
Dude, one thing though that I think is like isn't thought about is, you talked about how long you've been lifting, Pablo. It hasn't been that long, and you, Jesus, but the thing is your backgrounds play a big role into why you're also this strong. It's like you cannot mitigate the fact that you guys were working with just doing labor for a very long time, for years before you touched weight. That primed your body for a lot of the shit that you're doing right now.
That's actually a really good point because I don't know what I was listening to, but like how stress can cause mutations or stress can like bring certain like deep genes out of you. So it's like, I ain't gonna lie, me and Paulo grew up in a very stressful environment where you didn't know what the hell was gonna happen on any day. And it's like there's been studies shown where it's like that's why inner city kids look a lot older and more mature than like say someone who grew away from that.
Wait, you mean you want to flip those?
No. Like inner city is like the slums, bro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's like
Probably because you got to harden up a little bit.
you got 100%.
Right? And you don't want to get picked on and stuff. You got to kind of probably walk around a little bit more like an adult, carry yourself like an adult, act like an adult.
And then, so it's like, I just like, we have these conversations, man, where it's like, I'm sure every single event in our lives plays some role into like our development now. So it's like, I've had my fair share of scares, man, and stuff that I'm pretty sure like triggered some sort of response, because it's like, we're here, man.
Yeah.
Do either one of you guys use any of the stuff from your past that may have been negative in your training, or are you guys more coming from a more positive side? Like, I'm going to lift this weight, I trained for it, that kind of thing.
Well, yes and no. The one positive thing that I take into my training is I give the glory to God, you know, and the one thing about being a Christian or a believer is that we have to deny our flesh, right? Deny sin and be a man of God and walk with that consistency and discipline. But in the other hand, it's like what we went through growing up and our older siblings went through. We carry that, man. And we use that motivation to help us. And like we hear a bunch of stories that had happened when they were younger, when my mom was younger, and you know, we can't do anything about it. We can't do nothing about it now.
You can break the cycle though.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, we broke free from those chains. Generational curses were gone, man. And I thank God for it. And our mom recently got sick in 2021 where she almost passed away. And that was at the time where I was like, you know what, I need to take things seriously, and especially like powerlifting as well, right? It's what I'm doing. I can't half-ass anything anymore. And so a lot of that comes to like what we went through, what had happened recently 2 years ago. And it's like, we can't take things for granted. You know, we have to appreciate these things that help us, right? The constant stress, bring it out of us, and to just evolve into a better man and also a better athlete. And overall, like, it's the domino effect. It needs to happen, bro. I mean, as much as I wish it could be positive and lovey-dovey, like, the best people are the ones that go through some hard stuff, you know? They just have to grow up faster.
Yeah. And like, we literally had our youngest brother stay the summer with us. And one of the last conversations that I had with him in the gym was, like, it's like that scene from Rocky where Apollo's like telling him, there is no tomorrow. And I don't think people really understand what that means. Like, I think they just look at that and they're like, oh, he's telling Rocky like he needs to get his shit together, he's gonna beat up. But what I take from that is it's like no tomorrow. What it means is it's like there's no time to lose. Like, and I was just telling his name is Carlos, my baby brother, and I was just telling him, like, dude, like, you do not have time to slack off. You are our miracle baby. Because when he was in my mom's womb, he was diagnosed with trisomy 13. And the doctors were actually advising my mom to abort him because she had to get put on bed rest because her body was trying to naturally, like, abort him. So it's like he was only supposed to live 1 month. But my mom was like, if 1 month is all I get him for, by all means, like, I'm going to have my baby and I'm going to take care of him for as long as I can. But it's like, here he is now, 16 years later, like big, 6'2",
yeah, big dude now,
300.
Man.
Like, this guy's already like blowing us out of the water with just his frame alone, man. And he's like such a sweet kid. He's so smart, but he doesn't work hard. He's just naturally gifted at what he does because he's empathetic, he's sympathetic, he's pretty intelligent. So it's like when we see him like work hard and then he takes a day off, it's like, dude, like, do you know who we are? Like, do you know what we rep? Like, do you know what we're trying to do here? And it's like, my mom told me that she came to him in a moment of confidence, just told her that he felt like he couldn't reach the expectations we had for him. But it's like, it's our job. And like the way this all ties together, it's like our sense of belief and the sense of purpose that we have in what we do, because to everybody else, we're just lifting heavy ass weight. But for us, we're literally fighting every single day trying to build a legacy. Like my grandfather moved here to the States like 70 years ago, 60 years ago.
Bro, I don't know, bro.
The Olivares
A long
family,
time ago.
like our branch of the Olivares family has only been in the States for this many years. Whereas like so many other families have been here for much longer. And it's like, where do they have to show for their hard work? And I literally posted on my thread, it's like anybody who doesn't believe in the American dream isn't working hard enough. Like, get that shit out of my face. Because if you're so entitled and you feel like you deserve to be handed things, get out of my face. Like, we come from nothing, and it's like we're here with you guys.
Yep.
You know, if it wasn't for anything that we've done, like we would be nobodies. But we didn't believe in that. Like, we didn't feel like that was what we were supposed to be. I feel like I said a lot of points.
Have you guys always been religious?
No. No. We were raised Catholic, but
Not even, bro. We just went because it was like culture.
Well, we were baptized because it's like it's a
Andrew's
Mexican
nodding his
thing.
head over there.
Yeah.
It's a cultural thing where like you're Catholic, right? You're baptized at birth, or not birth, but shortly after. But I mean,
You guys
I remember like
got into
having
Christianity later on?
yeah, man.
I was telling your brother, was it Chris, right?
Yeah.
I was telling Chris that it was because of our mom. She had received this invitation to go to a church years before her and my dad were divorced. So that was like the final moment where she's like, I need to change my life. And so the one thing she did was sought out to Jesus, you know, for God. And she took that step forward. And I credit to her, man, because she, for the longest time, she never had a voice, suppressed for majority of her life. And for her to make that step forward, you know, that was simply from God. And she took us to church. As much as we didn't like it, you know, we were going through our period of like being young and
Teenagers
hard-headed.
and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and, I regret a bunch of the stuff.
Church seems so weird when you're a teenager.
Yes.
100%.
You know,
And
see
especially
people
Christian church, people singing in the aisles and shit like
jumping
that.
around,
Yeah.
man. Like, man, these guys are a bunch of fucking weirdos.
you know. So it was definitely a change of scenery, you know, something to get used to. But the one thing that we got out of it was that relationship with God, you know. And it's kind of weird, man, because, you know, we didn't know anything about it, right, until that time in our life. And it's changed dramatically ever since.
Yeah. And I
And
mean,
it's
like,
been a blessing.
we each have our own testimony, man. Like, I remember, like, I used to be angry at God because of, like, when my parents got divorced, I didn't understand it. And I was just, like, playing that card, man, like, why would you let this happen? Like, and I feel like that's one of the more common things that steer people away, or just from even, like, opening that door to God or Jesus. And it's like they have some sort of internal pain that they've never really like dove in deeper into or dissected. So that's kind of how my relationship with Jesus started. Like, I used to hate Jesus. I hated Christians. I hated God. I would literally fall asleep. First thing I did when my mom would make us go to church, I would sit down, sit in the back, go to bed. I didn't give a damn. I didn't want no part of it. And
I did
then
that,
yeah. And like, I mean, we can go on and on,
Teenagers,
but
yeah.
it's like, I'll never forget that, man. Like, the first time I ever felt like the Holy Spirit, like, God, like, revealed a lot of things to me. He revealed to me, like, why things happened how they did. And it was just like, man, it's like when you truly understand, like, how humans are, how, as yourself, you're just a man, like, the intrusive thoughts, we're just so undeserving, man. And like, when you really aim to be Christ-like, man, it's like the humility comes from your self-understanding of, I'm really ain't shit. So if you think somebody else ain't worth shit, it's like no, they're in the same boat, man. You should treat everybody the same. You should love people how Jesus loved people. Like, that's true Christianity. And it's like, we can dive into our testimonies, man, but it's like, that's what me and my brother are trying to embody, man. Because like, we went to church, there was a bunch of things that we didn't agree with because of the way they ran things. But it's like we are, and that's what Christianity is, man. It's a relationship. Like you dive. It's not a religion. It's not a B C D E get to Z type of thing.
You're not saved by your actions.
Yeah. So it's like here we are, man. Like we're just trying to live life how we think Jesus. That's what I want to do, man. When I die, and I just want God to be proud of what I did with what He gave me. And it's like we don't got much time, man. Yeah. 90 years pass in a blink of an eye, man.
Yep.
You're gonna be there's gonna be a day where you're 85 and you're gonna be like, holy smoke. I remember when I was 46. Like that's how time works, man. I remember when I was 5 and I'm like, feels like it was a week ago. So it's like time just flies by, man.
But it just ties in, bro, with like your training. Like no time wasted.
Yeah.
Everything is for a reason. Even when you wake up to the moment you take your first step of the day, anything is like the most minute detail. You care about it because it's like, I'm here for a reason, not just for nothing. You're here for a reason. And it's like, start embodying that. Believe it. You know, if you can believe it, achieve it. It's like, that saying has been around for the longest time. You know, you have to believe it and then you'll start to embody it.
Yeah.
If you have knee pain or lower back pain, the initial thought is that it's probably coming from the knee or the lower back. But have you ever thought that it could actually be coming from your feet? Most people wear shoes like this. They are narrow, they are not flat, they are inflexible. So it's almost like your feet are stuck in casts all day long. And if you imagine that your hand was stuck in a cast all day, well, your fingers are going to become weak, but then your elbows might start feeling a little bit wonky because your fingers don't move, and then it might travel up your shoulder. That's the same thing that happens with your feet when you put them in normal, inflexible shoes. That's why you want to throw those out and start using some Vivo barefoot shoes. They have shoes for hiking on their website, working out in the gym. They have casual shoes like these Novices right here. But the difference with Vivo is that they have a wide toe box so that your feet, like my wide-ass feet, can spread and move within the shoe. They're flat so that your feet are doing the work when you're walking, and they are flexible so your feet have the freedom to move the way they need to move so that they can be strong feet. That's why you want to get yourself some of these. And Andrew, how can they get it?
Yes, that's over at vivobarefoot.com/powerproject. When you guys get there, you'll see a code across the top. Make sure you enter that code at checkout for 15% off your entire order. Again, that's at vivobarefoot.com/powerproject. Links in the description as well as the podcast show notes.
Guys, look at this.
Ooh, look at that.
I could stick that in my mouth.
Do it.
I'm not going to do
Come
That's
on.
disgusting.
Okay.
No. Get him.
Is it important for you guys to have a purpose?
Oh, 100%.
Sounds like lifting gives you a purpose. Sounds like religion and your relationship with God gives you a purpose.
Gives us a platform for sure. So it's like, yeah,
I think I wouldn't be anybody if it wasn't for my relationship with God, man.
I mean, think about people that are your age, you know, like other people that are your age, that are just kind of scrolling a lot and maybe not fulfilling, you know, who they could really be. And maybe it's because they're lost and they maybe haven't found that purpose yet.
Yeah, or they just don't care. And that's a cold realization, man. It's like I've seen so many people with so much potential. Like they could be a great doctor, or they could be like a great athlete or a great person, but they just don't care. So it's like, but like
I do believe there'll be a moment, bro, where they're going to have a time to be called to the action, and it's up to them to be like, I know I could be that. Yeah. Let me not be who people think I am or what I am currently, and be a better man or a woman.
That's true, man.
Yeah, I guess your Jordan Peterson said it's like your moral obligation.
Yeah.
To try to figure out and find your purpose.
Because I used to be like that, man. Like I didn't. So like I know I mentioned like being a leaf in the wind, and on the negative side of that, like if I wanted to go like sneak out at night, or if I wanted to go mess around, do Lord knows what, man, like I would just do it. Like I was very carefree. I was irresponsible. I didn't care about the consequences of my actions. Like I was just a dumb kid, man. I didn't give a damn. I didn't care. I didn't know what was going to happen if I did that. I just knew that if I wanted to do it, I'd do it. And I've talked about this on other podcasts, man, but it's like I tried to commit suicide when I was 20.
Yeah, you're in like early 20s.
Yeah, man. Like I went through a really horrible breakup, and I had no hope, and I thought that my point of living was gone. So I tried to overdose, man, and just pretty much like fall unconscious into traffic. So that was kind of my wake up call, and that's like when you hear stories of people hearing God's voice call out to them, like they audibly hear a voice. And even though we had already given our life to Christ and experienced the Holy Spirit, it's natural to be skeptical. So up until that point, I was like, maybe I haven't heard God's voice, so maybe people were just tripping, right? But man, I will never forget that day. Like, I was just in so much like heartache that it's like that pain was physical and it was intolerable. And I just wanted it to go away. I just wanted to stop hurting. And I did what I did, and I just like remember crying in traffic, just driving, just waiting for like to kind of like fall unconscious. And I just remember like thinking like, wait a minute, why is the pain not going away? Like why do I not feel these painkillers? Like, where's at least like a little bit of relief? And then I just like saw a vision. Like, I was in like this tempest. I was drowning, and my hand was about to go under. I was about to be succumbed by the storm. And I see a lifesaver being thrown out in front of me. And like, this was like the first time I've ever heard God's voice. And I literally heard, Jesus, hold on to me or you're going to die. And I just remember like snapping out of it, man. It was like if everything that had been like taking charge of my life up until that moment just like cleared out. You know, like I still had to mourn the loss of that relationship, and I still had to like get myself back together. But like I can remember like that day was like the day where I was like, I don't have time to waste. Like, I need to get my stuff together. I need to stop caring less, and I need to start caring more. I need to start being who God made me to be. You know, like, God didn't make me this beast of a man to be meek, to be soft. I mean, I'm very soft spoken, but like this, like, we're here for a reason, you know? So it's like that moment, man, like, and I used to be somebody who laughed at people who fought with depression. I used to think suicide was a joke. I used to be one of those guys until it happened to me. And like, fortunately for me, God intervened in a divine way where like I didn't feel no sense of those pink and like I didn't feel nothing, man. Like, these were like those 500 milligram hospital pain pills, because I had just had wrist surgery like not too long ago, and they were left over. Like, I would take these to like null my wrist pain surgery, so I knew they worked. I had taken them before, so it's like, I don't know, man. Like, that's just something inexplicable, man. And it's just like, I can think of a lot of times where like God just intervened where there should have been something life-threatening, but for whatever reason, like, God's hand has just been over my life in such a manner, man, that it's like I don't have time to waste, man, because I know so many people who've been on the other side where it was their time, unfortunately, but it's like, I gotta do what I gotta do, man.
Yeah. Can I ask you, you're in a relationship now, right?
Yes, sir.
What's different? How do you, like, what's different in the relationship now? How you handle it?
Like with my girlfriend?
Yeah. Because like that relationship, I don't know what happened there, but obviously it impacted you, right?
Okay. So I guess I just became a more responsible person, man, because in my relationship before, like, I would act out inconsequentially. I didn't care how I treated the other person, you know. I'll own up to my mistakes that allowed for that relationship to not work. So it's like, what I'm doing now with my girlfriend is like, I try to just be more involved, you know, just listen to her, you know, because she's been such a big part of my success, man. Because like, in terms of like nutrition, she holds it down.
Let's go.
Like, the two people that know me the best, that I absolutely just know me the best, it's my girlfriend and it's my brother. And this guy's my best friend. Like, this guy knows me in and out, man. And it's like, I think over the past year, Like we've had our ups and downs, man, but I guess what's been different in this relationship, man, it's like it even talks in the Bible. You know, it's like one of the best ways to be Christ-like is to be married. You know, and like in every sense of the word, you know, like I do consider her my wife. You know, like we're not legally married. I can't disclose that information because then it'd be ruining surprises and stuff. It's just like staying humble, man, because I think as a man, when any relationship goes wrong, whether it's with your significant other or your brother or your parent, it's like when you start thinking you're like superior or better, but in reality, like their voice and feelings matter just as much. And that's something that my brother has helped me grow with as well, man, because it's like, how you say this, Paul? It's like you have to learn how to navigate the feeling of pressure and don't let it cut too deep. Because it's like, as a man, you know, like whether people want to admit it or not, like you are if you're the man in charge, you have a lot of responsibility, man. Wherever, like I'm the like the relationship is my ship and I'm the captain, you know? And that's not to say like that my girlfriend's like less important, because like the role that she has in our relationship, man, like that woman, she deserves my very best, man.
Yeah.
But like, you know what I'm saying? Like if I start acting up, it's going to affect her directly. If I just start changing up, it's going to affect her directly. And like, that's kind of what I mean. And it's like, you just, as a man, the day you start taking ownership of your actions, that's really when I think you become a man. It's not the day you start making six figures. It's not the day you become a father. It's not the day that you turn 18, turn 21. The day you take ownership of everything you do and you start taking that seriously and those consequences, I think that's when you become a man. Because the world, your view changes from like being stress-free and carefree to, nah, like if I do this, it's going to cause ripples. It's going to have an effect. Like if I talk to another grown man wrong, like what's going to happen? If I don't say hello to my brother and he's having a bad, like how is that going to affect his day? You know, like once you start thinking on that level, or just be more responsible, you know, like being more financially responsible. It's just, it all, that's what it all comes down to, man. It's just literally just taking ownership for yourself and what you do and how you do it.
Well said. Let's get back to lifting for a minute, because the people listening are like, man, I hope they give some good. Anyway, what's your favorite assistance exercise, favorite accessory for bench press?
Close grip, touch and go.
I say close grip, bench press, and some lat pull downs or seated row, or any type of row.
I thought you were going to say spamming triceps.
Oh no, yeah, single arm tricep extension, or tricep extension.
That's been like your mistress in your gym, Pops.
I've never really spammed them, and I have recently. And I'm like, I just feel more in control on the descend on the bench. And I'm like, that's got to be it, because that's the only thing I'm doing a lot of recently. That's got to be it.
Favorite assistant exercise for the squat?
For squat, I would say heavy leg press, man. Like, this is like some undisclosed information, but leading into Sheffield, I actually did the wrong block the last 4 weeks. So to fix that, to like kind of pretty much like speed up the volume and fatigue, I started pushing leg press, and it worked out in my favor.
Isn't it worse when you air it out like way later than in the early stages, bro?
I think so.
Like you're gonna
be in trouble, bro. Yeah, I would agree. Leg press is definitely the one that or a belt squat. I like, and I was sharing. Belt squat for me personally is just more range of motion to get in the hole, versus a leg press. Obviously, like if you're more mass, it's going to be more restrictive. So belt squat.
Yeah, because I like to think of it like as a 0.5 frequency, because you're loading the same muscles that you use in a squat from the waist down. And that's why it's something I'll tell my athletes a lot, man. Like when they want to add another squat day, I'm like, well, let's try either like leg press, bell squat, or like some sort of machine, because you want to
Control it as much as you can.
Well, and plus like the load on your spine.
Yeah.
Limit the damage, huh?
Yep. Exactly.
100%. So it's like, for me, it's like I can spam leg press and load up like 1,000 pounds, and I can do that for reps. Whereas like if I try squatting 1,000 pounds, like the fatigue is like 1,000 times. So it's like you kind of look at it like, okay, like how much stimulus can I handle without like the negative repercussion of like actual barbell squatting. So it's like that you have to take that into account, man. And it's like, that's what we were talking earlier about, how people like to just spam frequency when it's like, slow it down. Like your meat, bone, like that stuff can only handle so much per week, and it only recovers so fast and so good. So it's like, be smart, take it slow.
What about deadlift?
For deadlifts, I think just deadlifting.
Yeah,
honestly.
just deadlift more.
Yeah. We're like,
Deadlift.
we're a firm believer of like, just do more of whatever you want to be good at. Like people think you're going to just magically add some accessory and it's going to boost your stuff overnight. And that's not how it works, man. Like everything needs to be tried and tested. And the only way to do it is by actually doing it. I don't even know where people got that idea of like a specific, I think it started with YouTube videos when just asking other lifters, and they'd like try to look smart and cool. So they'd be like, let's add this. But it's like, I mean, it'll help.
Yeah, you got no idea how a tricep extension, you know, with a curl bar is going to relate to a 600-pound bench, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think
It's going to help to make your arms stronger, I guess.
yeah. I mean, and I think it's more of like an indirect assistance, but it's like if you want something like that's gonna help it, you just gotta do more of it.
Yep.
Now, if you want to talk variation, then I think maybe that's like a little bit different. But in terms of like an accessory that doesn't revolve around the particular implement or lift, it's like kind of crazy.
Like-
And then you guys do like a lot of assistance movements. You guys use machines, and I've seen some of the workouts. It looks like you're in the gym for a pretty long time after you get done with those. You guys are moving around big weight, and it takes a long time to squat 800 pounds, 900 pounds.
Yeah, man. If we're in the gym for 2.5 hours, like let's just say it's a squat session, we're probably squatting for like a little, like maybe an hour and a half, and then accessories is like 30 minutes.
I don't like looking at the clock or what time it is after we squat. I'm like, dude, we've been here for a long time.
Hey, bro, just
Very
wait till you get a girlfriend, bro. And then when she gets home from work and you're not there,
You still at the gym?
I've been gone since 7:30. It's 4 o'clock.
You're crazy.
It really takes 4 hours to work out. You're like, yep.
But it's like
Sometimes.
it's the warm up, man. It's like even now, like we've experimented with bigger jumps. Like I think
We would start at 2 reds, bro.
but it's like like we'll do 2 reds and then we'll go straight to 4 reds and then we'll do like 5 reds. So it's like relatively when you're like squatting less than 50%, I think that's okay. I wouldn't recommend it to most people, but
Yeah, pretty big jumps.
it's, I mean, sometimes I think as long as you're like taking appropriate jumps from 600 forward, I think you could kind of speed run to like 6 and then like, and it does take a significant time of, it does reduce it. So it does help speed up the workout. Or sometimes it just helps if we like take a pocket single, like we don't necessarily hit the RPE and we undershoot. That helps out a lot too. Just because, I mean, like singles are really just like primers for your body of work. You know, a single is not going to get you better. It's the 3x8. So sometimes you just kind of hit like a quick little, like even if it's a slightly undershot, like that's still going to prepare your body for like the actual body of work that's going to improve your workout.
And the assistance exercises are, they're kind of done to hypertrophy the area, so you're a little bigger, right?
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
man.
maybe more resilience,
Yeah.
like stay away from injuries and shit like that.
So the adductor machine, that I feel is like super low key, because you mostly see like female fitness influencers hit that exercise, right? But
It
I
works
think
wonders. Dude.
I think it's one of those. I think everybody should hit it like at least once a week, because it's great for hip health. I think it's good for knee health.
Got to bring
too.
up that bubble butt exercise. See if you can find it, Andrew. I think
was
you
it?
see these- I know you
I'll
guys get
find
their
it. I'll
thoughts
find
on
it.
this bubble butt exercise.
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to email it to you?
I got you guys on the good girl, bad girl machines. Pretty funny. But yeah, it does, those movements do really help a lot.
Yeah. For some reason, this was on my Explore feed. I don't know why it just ended up there, but y'all see, this is mad.
Hey, brother,
It's
there's
mad sus.
you can hide that kind of content
I
off
know.
your Explore page.
I had. Trust me. This is something else. Like I think you're thinking something, but I had to send it to these two because I thought it was just it was rather hilarious.
merely for educational purposes.
Y'all still don't understand what's about to come on screen though. Make sure you have the sound on, Andrew.
Dude, oh my God, he has so many.
Is it a dude? It's a dude.
I fucked up.
This
Sorry.
guy.
Bro, why is this guy so caked up?
Why is
though?
he so caked up though?
Why can't I find it?
If it's not Michael Davis, I don't want to see it.
Michael Davis, bro. The prof.
Oh man.
Oh my God, dude, this guy's nuts.
How-
Sorry, as
how-
I find it, my bad.
How are you guys able to stabilize the weight so well on a squat? That's, when I've seen you guys walking out with these weights, that was always a thing that was difficult at times to try to manage, these big weights, especially you guys are just kind of using like some regular bars, I think, and the bar can kind of waver a little bit and stuff like that.
I mean, I just think it comes down to like how efficient your walkout is, man. Like how stable your shelf is, like your core activation, and then being efficient, like taking as little steps as possible. So like I teach the 3-step walkout. So it's like you start off shoulder width. So that way, like when you take that first step, if you're too wide, you're gonna hit the rack. So if you start out shoulder width, your first step is gonna be like almost straight back about a foot. The second one should like be parallel, and then the third one is where you set your width and toe angle, right? And then obviously, like once your width is set, like if you want to like widen out your toes or make them a little bit more narrow, then like that's fine. But it just comes down to practice, man. Like just that's probably like the one thing. Like, I mean, all these things we're constantly thinking about.
Do you guys walk weights out in addition? Like I remember Ed Cohn used to like literally just do a set or two sometimes just to walk the weight back, and he wouldn't squat it all the time.
Nah, man, I've never done anything like that.
Me neither.
Just always squatted.
Yeah.
Dude,
All right, here's our
this shit's
exercise.
ridiculous. You said sound too?
Bro, that dude works nothing but glutes.
Yep.
That's why I said this. So I was like,
For
yo,
good
that's
reason.
that's problematic.
You want a bubble butt.
God damn.
Suspended in the air. You can
Look at
perform
that thing.
dual A kickbacks or isolated kickbacks.
If you just had a wig, you'd be like, holy shit. And then you turn around and be like, holy shit.
If you want a bubble butt.
Dude, his whole page is nothing but his big old butt.
So will that exercise help your squat, you guys think?
Not that one. But I'm sure he has a couple on there that probably
He has
do.
to.
Yeah, training
The
the glutes.
adduction machine or whatever, he has to have it. Andrew,
He's
why are
just
you doing
always
this?
working out in these same
I just want to
pants.
see it squat.
The fact that he wears gray.
It's a form check, Nsima. Get your mind out of the gutter.
Somebody get this guy
Aw,
some black
dude.
leggings.
That guy's too much.
Power Project family, if you're trying to increase your muscle mass, if you're trying to lose body fat, if you're trying to stick to your nutrition plan, if you're trying to get fit, pretty much if there's anything you're trying to do for your health, we know that sleep is the biggest determining factor to help you get from point A to point B. That's why we've been sleeping on 8 Sleep mattresses for probably more than 2 years now. And the main reason is the technology behind the Pod Pro. Now, the Pod Pro is like the Tesla of beds. It will change its temperature based off of how you're sleeping during the night. And if you have a partner that's sleeping on the other side, they could have their own temperature settings. We all sleep hot here, and I used to wake up in a puddle of my own sweat. Gross. That doesn't happen anymore because of the 8 Sleep mattress, and I've been getting the best sleep of my life. Now, if you don't want to replace your mattress, you can just get the Pod Pro cover, and you can put that over your current mattress to get all the benefits of 8 Sleep. But if you also need to replace your old nasty mattress, you can get the Pod Pro cover and the 8 Sleep mattress. Andrew, how can they get it?
Yes, you guys got to head over to 8sleep.com/powerproject, and you guys will automatically receive $150 off of your order. Again, 8sleep.com/powerproject. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes.
Pablo, you were mentioning that you like to do an exercise. You feel it helps your elbows a little bit before you squat, because sometimes a squat can there can be a lot of pressure on the elbows on squat.
So we do a bunch of resistance band exercises before, just to get more blood flow. I used to wear a lot of elbow sleeves, but I went to racks in wider grip on squat. Doing those single arm tricep extensions has helped with that, like to mitigate the pain. I don't really get much pain anymore actually doing those. So I rarely use elbow sleeves anymore for squat. And so
I think you were mentioning like a reverse grip pull down or something like that too.
Yes, I also do that for squat too, just for the I used to have bad rhomboid uncomfort, and I would do that as well. So a bunch of this stuff you have to actively do these things. It's not just a one-time thing. Oh, one time a day I'm good. No, you have to do these for at least a month, a couple of weeks, and really get used to it. Just try to rehab, you know.
Do you guys warm up in the gym, or do you mainly just like, if it's squat day, you just go right to the squat rack, or you go right to the bench, right to the deadlift?
I mean, there's times where we'll do like 5 minutes on the treadmill. We'll do like moderate intensity with like let's just like kind of speed up blood flow.
The treadmill's not big enough. I saw you guys on the treadmill. I'm like, these guys are like barely on the treadmill.
I hit my arms on the rails right here. I have to have
you kind of have to step back where you're like close to falling off.
Their gait is so wide, like it matches their shoulders, you know. So they're out here and like they're skidding on the sides almost.
So you got to make sure to walk fast enough that you don't bust your ass. Yeah. But
usually just warm up with the main movement for the day.
Yeah, man, pretty much. I mean, I guess like for bench, we'll pull at the resistance band. You put the resistance band like behind your elbows and like you kind of do like a reverse bench press.
Look at that back.
Yeah, you guys sometimes will do a little bodybuilding posing afterwards.
Hey man,
do you think that's helping? Like, I know you're doing it like kind of in fun, and your back is fucking massive.
People like it.
But do you think it's helpful to learn how to squeeze and flex some of those muscles?
Actually, that's a very good point, because hey bro, Oliver baby, because so this past Monday, I actually like kind of put my hands out just out of convenience, because we were squatting on a rogue rack and we wanted to save time and just be efficient, and like I'm pretty confident in my ability to kind of like adapt my squat. I just feel like my own understanding of my body is like I could figure it out, and I did. So what I learned around like my fourth warm up is like how much harder you have to brace your traps and your rhomboids when you have your hands out wider, because when you have a more narrow hand grip, your forearms are actually providing a good amount of support on your back, right? So when your hands are out wider, you can't really push against the bar with your hands like that. It's all on your back. So I kind of like was like figuring that out as I was going. And then we actually went to the Golden State Bridge yesterday or 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
And I did a lat spread out there. And just now when you said that question, like my mind connected that squat and figuring out how to flex my upper back to like how I flexed my back 2 days ago, because that sensation was very similar, because that was probably like my best lat spread to date, because I just kind of felt in tune with like that part of my back. Because normally when I lat spread, I just really like try to like make as much, like just spread as much as I can, because like I can actually feel my lats like slide down and widen. But 2 days ago, I also felt like mentally in tune with like my traps and rhomboids. So then like I spread my lats and then like I flexed my upper back, and it literally felt like the same sensation of when I was like squatting with a wide grip. So it's like, I don't know if a lot of people would be able to really like get that same mental connection, but it's like when you said that, it just kind of prompted those thoughts.
Yeah, I know that like in a bench squat and deadlift, they have some things in common. You want to try to keep your chest or rib cage up a little bit. You want your shoulders kind of down and back. You think about a bench press, you're trying not to like overextend and push any further than you need to. In a deadlift, you're trying to take the deadlift and you're trying to almost wrap the damn thing around your legs. So you're flexing your lats, you're keeping your shoulder as far away from your ear as possible. You're not shrugging upward. And then the same thing happens in the squat. You get in the same position. You lock the lats in just as you're describing. You pull the chest up a little bit and you're usually locked in.
Yeah, man.
Kind of similar on all three of those movements.
You about to say something?
No, you go ahead.
I want to know this because I know you guys have probably gotten this comment before, but you guys are also already extremely strong. You're the strongest, right? Now, why not hop on? Because like if you're already the strongest, what's going to happen if you hop on, right? Why?
I'm glad you asked that because it's like my ultimate. It's like a bragging card, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the satisfaction of just knowing that I'm at this level. Without it, like I don't need to prove my shit to anybody. I'm that guy, bro.
I love it.
But at the same time, it's also like I don't want to put my health at risk because I'm already so big. Like high blood pressure runs in my family. I'm pretty sure my numbers are pretty high. Today during the video, I was fat guy breathing the whole time. So it's pretty much for those reasons, man. Because it's like what's gonna happen? Like, am I gonna get up to 450 for like 500 pounds? Like at that point, you know, I'm playing with fate, man. Like so many people have had so many adverse reactions and stuff like that as of late. And it's like, it's scary, especially if I don't need it. Why even play with it? Like, it's dumb, dude.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, like, I think I would consider it like an epidemic. Like, there's so many teenagers hopping on right now. Like, it's insane. And I think that's where this culture of he's lying is coming from. Because you have these 16, 17-year-old kids who are like hopping on social media right now, and their mentors are just teaching them verbiage that they've learned. So it's like, and I think we were talking to your brother about that, man. It's like, I think we were so fortunate to run into the people that we did, because it's like, I don't know if, like, let's just say like I would have learned from somebody who was like, and they were telling me these things, like, who knows? I might have, you know? So it's like, I think it's a part of our responsibility to just, and that's always been my thing, man. It's like, my code is I want to be as strong as I can and do everything I possibly can without compromising my morality. And I'm not saying like just because, like, we're good friends with some people who compete in untested, like Shane Hunt, man.
Yeah.
He's been going through a patch, you know, but like we don't have any beef. So it's like I don't judge him for being an untested, you know. And we've shared philosophy and we've had very deep conversations before whatever he's been going through, you know. So it's like, or like I've have DMs with other untested guys, you know, and like, I mean, well, I've heard some other things as well too.
I think it matters. We draw the line. I don't know. For me personally, being stronger than another super heavy who's untested, that's just like, you know, when you're in football going against another giant and you're like, hey man, like, I don't know. It's just like the ego comes out and you're like, I know I'm better than you.
Or it's like, and I guess we can correlate to anime, bro. It's like whenever Goku fights Turtles and he takes the fruit.
Yeah.
Or it's like
The sensu bean?
no, it's the Goku lookalike. Turtles or Turtle or something like that.
Okay.
Like he has to take a fruit to beat or like even come close to beating Goku, and it's like, I don't ever want to be that guy, man. I don't ever want to be like, I always told Pablo, like, I would rather be second best of all time than number one if it meant compromising my beliefs. Like, because even at the day, if I could be like, if somebody else comes up or like somebody on the untested like takes the record or whatever, like I can retire and put my head and go to sleep knowing I did everything I could with my God-given ability. My own work. And I'm also saying, like, these guys still work hard, but it's just different when you know, like, it's your natural ability. Like, I don't think you can understand it unless you can understand it. So it's like, I don't know, man. We're just in this position where we're doing what we can. I know I've heard a lot of my friends from the untested, like they'll tell me straight up, they're like, dude, everybody hates you. They think you and your brother are the most cocky, arrogant sons of guns. But it's like, are we really, man?
You're not cocky. I mean, you're just doing it. The thing is, you're not cocky. It is what it is. You know?
Yeah.
If only these guys would like to take the time to have a conversation. But I mean, it is what it is, man. And I understand because it's like everybody's a competitor in the sport.
Of course.
You know, everyone's always trying to figure out ways to be like just be in the number one position. And it's like when somebody comes in like myself, you know, and it's like I take this record that like whoever has it, right? And it's like no way, man. Like, first of all, the first mistake you're doing is comparing me to that guy. Don't do that. It ain't fair. Don't do it. So it's like it's just natural to bring out comparisons, man, because it's like when you have a lot of people see somebody's rise and they're like, oh, I did this, then automatically if they're the top, everyone's going to assume you need to do the same thing to be in the same position. But it's like, now you got me, and it's like, I'm doing it differently.
Yep.
So, and at the same time, man, I feel like we have a responsibility to show people and just be a voice against it, because it's like, and I'm not entirely anti-PD, man. Like I might, maybe 45, hop on like TRT or whatever, you know, just to look good.
But it's ridiculous that you have an 18-year-old hopping on it just to get bigger or stronger.
That-
I'm gonna be real. It's the
That's
truth.
ridiculous, man. Like, it's very upsetting because it's like my brother is 16. I don't want my brother hanging around these kids. I don't. And it's like, not to say they're bad kids, man. They're just being misled. So it's like the people response, and it's just like we can dive into this conversation, man, because like you have the fitness industry, and then you have like how we were talking about in the back a little bit, how like I think you said it's like being good at passing a test, and it's like so it's like it's just very convoluted, man, and it can be depressing at times. Like I think I posted an audio from Pablo where Pablo was talking about how like you don't have to take PEDs to be strong or look good, and then everybody in there was like, oh, you're lying, like another Christian man lying, blah blah blah. But it's like, I forgot where I was going with that.
I think people just need to train, you know, give yourself an opportunity. Even all the stuff with pre-workout and how hyped everyone tries to get all the time. It's like, get into training, give yourself 10 minutes. If you start warming up on like a deadlift and you feel kind of empty, then maybe you do reach for the pre-workout. But like, I don't know, give your body a shot. Give yourself a chance.
That's exactly, like, I'm glad you said that, man, because it's like, once you hop on anything, you lose your natty card for life.
Yeah.
And it's like, can you imagine if you had the ability to be like the best at what you do naturally, but because you were misled, you'll never get to find out? That eats at me, man, because it's like, how do people not think that? Like, give yourself a shot. Like, give yourself a shot. Like, I could not imagine an outcome where I did go untested, and then this Jesus jumped into that reality and was like, dude, you could have been this without it.
It's like some Rick and Morty shit.
It is. So it's like, that's my thing, man. Like, you don't know what you can accomplish until you try. And like how you said, man, like these kids, man, they're so young. They're not even done growing. They're not done maturing. They'll never know what they look like.
Might only been training with some decent knowledge for like a year or something.
12 months, man.
Yeah.
12 months.
Because, you know, we talked about that in the gym, how you have like 2 birth dates, you know, of when you start lifting. You're like, I started when I was 12. And then you're like, well, really it was 15 because I didn't know what I was doing for a couple of years.
Yeah, man.
And so a lot of people just, they haven't given themselves a good shot. They maybe don't understand training all that well yet. And imagine just if you do give yourself a chance and then you do learn how to train and give yourself 3-4 years. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but just see where you're at. You're probably going to make some pretty damn good progress, especially with the kind of progress that you made. It's unbelievable.
I technically started pretty late compared to how many people are starting
You started
now.
at 20 and now you're 23 or something,
So
right?
3 years, you know, and I'm still progressing. So it's like,
Squatting 881 pounds.
yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
But this is why I gotta say, like, the thing is like, I think we can all feel for some of the guys who end up starting stuff when they're 17, 18, because the thing is they do it because they want it fast. Yeah. Like somebody hears, again, you start at 20, really, and at 23, you're lifting 881. Some guys are going to be like, I've been lifting for 5 years. I'm nowhere close to 881, right? But the thing is again, the body of work is not only the work you guys have done in the gym. Russ Swole, same shit. The body of work has not only been his body of work in the gym. The guy was a football player and an athlete. Y'all were doing things before you touched weights. You've built up this ability with your bodies before you touched weights. And then you touched weights and things went crazy. Yeah. And most people will think it's relatively fast, but they don't see the lives you've lived. That's why they can't compare themselves to you.
If you haven't wheelbarrowed as much horse manure as I have grown up, I don't want to hear shit.
I mean, there's someone who's wheelbarrowed more, bro.
That's true. Bro, like people don't understand, dude. There's the talent pool
it's
of
pretty
people,
large.
Bro.
It's big, bro.
What do you mean?
There's so many people out. Okay, maybe not that much, but there's a noticeable amount of people who like have talent, but for whatever reason, like they're just chilling on the farm, dude.
Yeah, you see it everywhere you go. You know, you'll see some guy at a grocery store. He's 6'3", and just at some point, he decided to give up on it. But who the fuck knows who that guy could have been or what he could have been.
I'm not gonna lie, man. That's part of my motivation because I know I believe it. Like either if it's gonna be Pablo eventually in a year or two, or some random son of a gun who just decided to pick it back up again.
Yeah,
who just is gonna like get that shit on fire. Like I think about that when I train, and I feel like that helps me like stay on top of my stuff. Like I know there are people who are freakier than me or could just potentially end up passing me. Like my older brother was one of them. Yeah. I'm very fortunate that I'm not the one chasing him, you know? So it's like, I always keep that in the back of my head. And then I got this guy, man. So it's like, I like to think I stay on my toes. So it's like, I'd be very ignorant to think that I'm going to be the epitome of strength. It's like, no, like there's going to be somebody else somewhere. Yeah. And I believe that, man, whether it's 5 years from now, like I might not have to deal with him. You might have to. Or Carlos.
Think you're going to be out of the game by then?
I don't know, man.
What's the likelihood we'll see you go head to head at some point with Ray Williams? And have you guys ever competed against each other?
No, man. We were supposed to do
Powerlifting America last year.
Yeah, but I think that's when he re-aggravated something and he had to pull out.
It was something with a hip.
Yeah,
he's competing soon, right?
Yeah, he's competing today.
Oh shit!
Time to sit actually.
Let me see. But someone might have posted
1 hour. I
already.
think.
Are you sure?
Yeah, we got to check in on Big Ray. See how he's doing.
I hope he does very well.
I think he'll squat over 1,000 for sure.
Yeah.
His squat's been looking really good.
He's squatted over 1,000 in competition several times now, right?
Yes, sir.
Competes in the same federation. I don't believe he has the same. You benched 600 pounds. I think he's mid fives.
I think like 540, and his best deadlift was like 398.5 or no 398 even.
Yep.
No, 398.5 because I had to pull 399 to break the record by a chip. So it was like 878.
Yeah.
But you now have the all-time total in IPF history and the all-time squat.
I have the all-time sleeved record total. Not just in the IPF. All-time, baby.
Numero uno.
What's that number?
Should we give to them in kilos or pounds?
Let's go both.
Yeah.
Both.
All right. So in kilos, 1,152.5 kilograms. In American units, 2,541 point something pounds.
Damn. That's really wild. And then the biggest total with like knee wraps, like Daniel
2606.
Bell did, like 2606. So you're even
1182.5.
You're even close to that.
I am very close to that.
When you say that, like there's something in your head which you're probably not going to let out, but
I want to hit 2607 in Sheffield February 10th.
Yo,
I've never really been someone to chase numbers. Like I just train smart. I mean, I'm still going to train smart, but it's like just a little something, man.
It's time to try hard, bro.
It's time to try really hard.
Time to try really hard.
Why not put an exclamation point on everything and just surpass everybody, right? Andrew, what you got cooking over there, buddy?
Man, you guys are covering everything. Every time I have a question, you guys cover it. So this has been awesome. But I did want to go back to the testing and stuff, because we talked about that in the gym. I don't think people really know, even for, because powerlifting's still not like a major sport in America, but you're getting tested by WADA. So what does that look like, including you being here right now and all of the things that encompasses?
I'm glad you asked, Andrew.
Yes, sir.
Because I have to constantly update these guys where I'm at, where I'm going. Like, I have to give them approximate times of where I'm going to be, just in case they wanted to like literally, someone could literally like be, oh, hey, we're looking for Jesus. Like, can you come to the restroom?
They're like, oh, you're going to hang out with Mark Bell. Okay.
Hey, watch yourself around here, right?
So it's like, I literally have to like be very like detailed in my travel plans. Like, they know where I'm going to stay in LA. They know from what time to what time I'm going to be at the Gymshark event. They know like where I'm going to train on Monday. Like, I have to let them know for these reasons, because if they go to San Antonio while I'm here, like, even though they're just going to give me a fail, and that's going to go on my record as like failing to show. So it's like, people don't understand, or they know that. So it's like, if I am cheating, I'm going to get caught eventually. Like, there's no point. Like, literally, I don't think people understand. I could have competed in untested and won that money. Why would I put myself in the limelight to be a fucking clown and lie to you guys when I could have won more money competing in the untested? Like, rationalize. Like, why am I shortcutting my wins? It doesn't make sense. So it's like, I think about that. If I had a squat bar, mile lift, deadlift bar, what does my total look like? Looser standards. What would I lift then? So it's like, why the hell would I want to do things the hardest way possible? Risk my name, my honor, my integrity, my family for what? Like, I don't think you guys understand. And for anybody who can't really comprehend what I'm talking about, like, you guys aren't really like, you know what I'm saying? Like, read a little deeper, look at the context, think about it long and hard. That's all I gotta say about that.
Sick. And then so like on a like I don't know anything about high level powerlifting, let alone squatting, as far as like the techniques and stuff involved. But I know when Mark started working with Kelly Starrett, he had him turn his toes more in, and I see that yours are pointed a little bit out. Have you ever messed with anything like that?
Honestly, man, I just kind of do what feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really try to, like, I mean, if I was like breaking down my own form, I would tell you like my rationale behind that is because it lets me open up my hips a little better, and that way, like, I'm not losing much force out of the hole, so it just kind of lets me like stay strong at my weakest position.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I did it almost more as like a training tool. Like, I would do, my feet would be almost completely straight when I would train, and then in competition I'd point the toes out a little bit, just as you said, just to give the hips a little more freedom.
Yeah, I mean, it's just have a little bit more mobility, you know.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, at this level, right? It's like you're the best. So it's like that little tiny bit. I was just curious about it. I do want to ask you, both of you guys, when you do line up for a heavy lift, like one of those, like you said it earlier, like a 50-50, like a oh shit. What is going through your mind? Because I know for me personally, when I was, doing the big three mainly, that was the biggest part for me, was like, I know I'm strong enough to do this lift, but my mind would be like, no, you're not. But physically, I knew I had it because, whatever it may be, let's say 2 plates on a deadlift, I could do it for like 20 reps. Throw on another plate, I couldn't pick it up off the ground. Yeah. So what goes through your guys' mind as you line up for one of those? If you don't mind,
Andrew, can you pull up my 1,025?
Yes, sir.
I think it's at the very top.
This one?
Yeah, that one. So, Pablo, as my witness, before this lift, man, I literally was sitting down in tears, praying to God to give me the strength to get this lift, because this was, I think, like a 20. How much is this? That was a PR at the time.
And I was a grinder.
Yeah, I don't think I put it on
I
there.
think your PR before that
It
was
was just 1,003.
Yeah.
So it was like a 22-pound PR, 10-kilo PR. And my rationale behind this was, if I was gonna take a crack at Ray's squat record at Sheffield, I needed to hit something like it was 1,077. So this was okay. No, let's do kilos. So 477. This was 465. So it was 12 and a half. So if I could hit this, then I knew I could peak 12 and a half kilos on meet day.
Damn.
And in my mind, I was just so desperate to win that I was like, this could be a very bad experience, or I could show myself I had like the grind in me to squat whatever I needed to. And I'm honestly glad that I went for that lift, because there was a point, and I know it didn't look like it because I ended up squatting 1,000, so just shy under the record at Sheffield. But there was a point where like I kind of shifted a little bit, and that lift was honestly a lot harder than it looked. But because I had experienced a grind with a similar weight, I had the confidence that like, just keep squatting, like you got it. Mm-hmm. So this is like one of those rare occurrences where I would say like it kind of paid off to go hit like the RP 11. Because it's like it gave me the confidence and a feeling of, okay, I can grind 1,000 plus if I need to.
Wow. So what goes through your head, bro? Answer the question. Well, what's in your brain?
And was that like planned for that day, or that was like?
Was it, Pops?
It was gonna be a heavy day for sure. Because you said, because we have a certain weight that we need to hit that needs to move a certain way for us to be like, okay, we either have enough in the tank or at least enough confidence to go up to that certain weight. So what'd you hit, like 950 last?
No. It was 425, so 936.
That's a big jump. 936 to 1,035.
Don't try this at home.
Yeah. I mean, for something like this, you really need to be in not a positive. Well, it could be positive, but it's something you really don't think about daily. Like you've heard it from Eddie Hall. Like he said, he had to go through a pretty dark moment during that time when his 500 kilo deadlift. And, it's like, you have to, stress brings it out of you. You have to put yourself in a position. You either, like we said earlier, you have a little bit of time, that time window, when you have to make a decision to do this weight. Either you put the weight on the bar, you have X, Y, and Z variables. It's a yes or no. And it's like you have to make it up right then and there.
Yeah.
What's your YouTube channel, and where can people find you guys?
Iron Theory, guys. And you can find me personally on my Instagram, mega.gojira, and
World Breaker Pobs on Instagram.
Found it.
And you do some coaching online. Do you both do some of that?
Yes. So I actually work under Flex Training Systems, guys. So if you guys are ever interested, like I have a link in my bio, send in an inquiry. Specifically ask for Jesus. And then Pablo also has a link on his bio.
Yes.
What's your thing called, Pabs?
World Breaker Performance.
That sounds pretty dope.
It does actually.
It does.
Thank you guys so much, and can't wait to see you guys breaking some more records.
I appreciate you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Strength
guys.
is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later. Bye.
Oh, hello there. You made it to the end of the video, which means that you'll like this video. It's another deep dive. I'm pretty sure you're going to like it. And, well, at this point, you're probably still here because you just want to hear what I'm going to tell you about this video, right? Well,
Say something.
no.